So, you know how in my previous video I said get ready for pain because it's coming in this episode? Turns out that's not the case. Turns out they're going to make us wait for it for God knows how many episodes, so, you know, get prepared for that, because it could be the next episode, could be 2 or 3 episodes from now. Who knows? There's a lot more episodes. There's 11 more episodes, so, you know, we gotta stay vigilant. Don't get, you know, lulled into a false sense of security just because they decide that they're gonna show us all these cute moments and then slowly rip it away from us at some point, so get ready for that. This whole time, they've been foreshadowing some concerning things that could happen in future episodes. Wrecker's head still hurts, and now I'm worried that they're just gonna start picking them off one by one, because, you know, first it was Crosshair, and now it seems like Wrecker's gonna be next, and so who knows if that's gonna happen. I hope not. I really don't want to see Omega lose her dads one by one. And then where's Crosshair? We have not seen him for 2 episodes now, so, that's concerning. What are they doing to him? Because we don't know what the Empire's up to, we don't know what the Kaminoans are up to, we don't know any of that shit, so I'm spooked. But before I continue to rant, what is up, my dudes, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, what's up? I am One Creative Ginger, and in this house we have salty takes and emotional rants over fictional media, all while wearing the most amazing makeup you have ever seen in your entire life. And that is a fact. So, does that sound like fun? Well, how about helping a bitch out by clicking that subscribe button, and if you find at least one of your brain cells enjoying at least a millisecond of this video, why not hit the like button too? But yeah, so this episode starts off with Tech giving Omega a communicator, because thank God she really needed one the last episode. So I'm glad that they made a point to be like, here you go, you need a communicator. So really glad they did that. That was smart on their part. And they also teach her stranger danger too. There's a whole scene where they're like, what do you do? And she's like, I do this. And they're like, good. Because we're not getting you kidnapped again, good lord. So that was nice. So now she's got a communicator and no stranger danger. But unfortunately, the sad thing is the communicator that Tech gives her used to be Crosshair's, so that's quite sad. So so they end up landing on a planet called Ord Mantell, and they are looking for someone named Sid, who apparently has info on Fennec and who hired her, and Echo only knows about her because the Jedi were very good allies with her, so he's like, well, that's a good place to start, right? So they just, so, you know, they try to go find her, and they're just totally inept with, like, social cues and just social interactions in general, which is really funny to see, because obviously they're clones, they were bred for fighting, they're supposed to be soldiers, so they're not going to really know how to talk to people, because keep in mind, they were bred during the Separatist War, so all they were fighting were droids. So I thought that was really interesting to see them totally not know how to interact socially. They've always been just the muscle. That's when they've always been called is in case, you know, something goes wrong and regular clones can't, you know, do the job right, they come in and they fuck shit up. Yeah, it was really interesting to see Omega be the the brains of the operation, as Sid calls her, which I thought was really funny, because, you know, Tech is technically the brains of the Bad Batch, although he does say in this episode that he's more of a tactical person. He can only really think up tactical solutions. He's not really the social kind of guy. He's not going to pick up on social cues just like all the rest of the Bad Batch, but Omega can, so that was pretty interesting. So yeah, I saw a lot of people being like, oh yeah, Tech's not the smart one anymore, but it's like, no, they're different. They have different smarts, you know. Tech's the more soldier smart. He knows how to get out of military situation. Yeah, it's so funny to see these guys that are just soldiers trying to navigate something that's completely different. They're trying to be dads, they're trying to look after a child, and they're trying to, you know, stay out of the Empire's way and not get tracked by them until, you know, they have, like, some allies and a solid plan, you know, because they're kind of just, they just don't know what what the hell they're doing. They just don't know what's going on. So yeah, I really like that that's kind of the route it's been going, and how they're just so inept to this new situation. They're so used to war and fucking shit up and just being badasses, but this is just so different for them, and it's really fun to see them just interacting socially with people and just not getting it, and just Omega being that person, because in the last episode she was the one that didn't know stranger danger, which makes sense because she's the kind of person that wants to make friends. That's literally been her whole thing. Like when she is found by Fennec, she's like, I want to be your friend, you should be friends with us, and she tries to literally invite Fennec to join her and the Batch, and that was really funny. But yeah, she's more the person that likes to make connections with people and be friends with them, and she's just more of a social person, while the Bad Batch is just military you know, mindset. So that was really interesting to see that switch of her just not knowing things and them knowing things in the last episode, and then her knowing things and then them just not knowing what the fuck's going on in this episode. So that was really cool to see that switch around. It was really fun. So, you know, they find Sid, and Sid's supposed to have information on Fennec and who hired her, because at this point the Batch doesn't know who Fennec is and who hired her or anything like that. So they talk to Sid, they ask her, and she's like, well, in order to get that information, you're gonna have to do a job for me, you know, that kind of thing, and in return for the information you'll also get a cut of the money for doing this job. So that's good. So Sid tells them that there is someone named Moochie that was captured by some Zygerian slavers, and so all they have to do is find Moochie and bring her back to Sid, and then they'll get the money and the information. So seems easy, right? So yeah, so they go, they find the Zygerian slavers, and Omega stays with the ship. She's not very happy about that, but the others go to find Moochie, and it was so interesting to see how quickly they got their asses just handed to them, because they're down a guy, they don't have Crosshair with them, and so you quickly see how just they cannot function in just a military setting. Like, this is a rescue mission, they've done this before, they did that to save Echo, you know, so they know how to do a rescue mission just with all the right people. They've never done a mission without Crosshair, so you can see very quickly that they do rely on him to a certain degree, and they're just totally just inept when it comes to fighting without him. And it's sad, because yeah, he's definitely someone they really need with them, and they just don't know how to function without him. Yeah, so Omega sees them being captured, and then she, you know, sneaks around trying to figure out how to either save them or distract the Zygerians. So she sneaks around, and then she eventually gets caught, but not before she releases a baby Rancor. So obviously chaos ensues, so the Bad Batch and then the slaves are able to free themselves and escape, and then they find out that the Rancor is Moochie, you know, the individual that they're supposed to bring back to Sid, you know. So Echo and Omega, you know, get the freed slaves to safety, and Tech actually speaks an alien language to better communicate with them, which was really nice. I really liked seeing and hearing that, because it was so nice. I love that. But yeah, and then Tech joins Hunter and Wrecker in going after Moochie, who is just going on a rampage trying to, like, destroy any Zygerian she can find. So that's very fun. But yeah, so they're trying to figure out how to get Moochie to Sid without her just destroying everything in her path. So Tech is able to figure out that Rancors adhere to a social hierarchy, so apparently you just have to beat its ass in order for it to just respect you. And so Wrecker's like, hell yeah, I'll do that. And so they have this whole fight scene where eventually they both tire each other out, and eventually Wrecker is the last one standing. And so it was so cute, because they just tired themselves out, and they're just like, all right, we're besties now, because that's how that works. So, so that was really funny to watch, because it was very cute how they're just like throwing punches at each other to the point where they just keep missing and then they just both pass out, essentially. It was great. I loved that. So that was fun. But yeah, so when Omega's helping Echo help the slaves escape, she picks up this crossbow thing that I think belonged to one of the Zygerian slavers. So that's interesting. Why'd she do that? You know, maybe she just thought it was cool because she's a kid, but who knows? So anyways, they get back to Sid, and they bring Moochie with them, who is just totally chill now, totally chilling with them. Like, Omega's literally sitting on her shoulders, which is really cute. But they're totally just besties now. They're totally cool. The person that they're handing Moochie off to is this motherfucker right here. So is this the same? Is Moochie the same Rancor that Luke ends up fighting? You know, in the original trilogy. So it's like kind of sad because we know what happens to that one. But yeah, who knows? Maybe they just like collecting maybe. Yeah, maybe they just like collecting Rancors, so they just have a bunch of them. So now that their mission's done, you know, they get their cash and also their information. So Sid tells Hunter about the bounty hunter. You know, the bounty hunter is Fennec Shand, and she doesn't know who hired Fennec to come after Omega, and she doesn't know really anything besides who the bounty hunter's name is. And so that's all the information she can really give. But she also mentions to Hunter that you're going to need friends and money in this situation, because if you got someone who has a bounty on you, that's the shit you're going to need. And it sounds like she offers to help out the Bad Batch, you know, basically being like, hey, you work for me, I'll help you find friends and money, you know? That kind of thing. So I hope they do stay with Sid, because Sid was really cool. I really liked her character, because she was fun in this episode, and I really hope she sticks around because she's really cool. Yeah, I hope they stick with her, because it sounds like she can help them out, and it sounds like she knows a little something, because she mentions to Hunter that she knows that he and the Bad Batch are valuable. So, who knows why they're valuable? I'm assuming because they're enhanced clones that makes them valuable, but there could be something else going on, so I guess we'll see. This episode was a lot more fun than the last episode, because there was a lot going on, and it was just very fast-paced and chaotic, and it was just interesting to watch. Sid made this episode just way more fun, and they were low-key hired as mercenaries for this, and I think that this is something that they should do more of, because we've already seen how they work as civilians. Doesn't go very well for them, so I think hopefully they do stick with Sid, because Sid technically does just offer them to, hey, might want to stick with me, I can give you money and information, you know, that kind of thing. So I hope they do stick with her, because she's a really cool character that I hope shows up throughout the show. They work a lot better being mercenaries than civilians, and at this point they should not be, especially since Omega's got a bounty on her, so they should be making friends, being mercenaries for hire, that kind of thing. That would be more beneficial to them in this, you know, situation. But in this case, when they go to this planet, they don't need to hide as civilians. They literally just walk around in their Bad Batch armor, which makes me think a lot of people don't know who the Bad Batch is just by looking at them. Because honestly, if you looked at them, they don't look like clones at all. Their facial structures are so different. Yeah, it's interesting. I hope they do stick with Sid, because that'll be very interesting. She's definitely helped the plot be way more interesting than the last one, so I'd like to see her stick around. So Sid calling the Batch valuable, it's like, obviously I'm assuming it's just because their mutations are a valuable thing, because versus regular clones. But that has me thinking, is it just Jango Fett's DNA that they have, or is there something else in there too? Because it's just, with regular clones, the Kaminoans just had to hit copy paste, you know, but they didn't do that with the Bad Batch, because it's very clear that they look drastically different to each other, to the point where it's like, they can't have the exact same DNA as one, regular clones, and two, all of them, like all 4 of them, because Echo is a regular clone. He just joined them after the whole Techno Union thing. But for the 4 of them, they all look drastically different from regular clones and from themselves as well. So it's like, I don't think it's too far off to say that their DNA also got spliced with some other species in there. So, you know, everyone could have a different species. They could all have Jango Fett's DNA, but like it could be spliced with different species for each one of them, you know, to be able to enhance the certain traits that they have, you know. It just doesn't quite make sense for them to look so different that it's just Jango Fett's DNA in there. I think they have to be spliced. I think they have to be hybrids. I do think the Bad Batch are hybrid clones, and that would also make sense as to why the inhibitor chip just didn't work properly, because with Crosshair it didn't work properly at first either. They literally had to detain him to get it working, but it was like kind of sort of working. I wonder if that'll ever be explained, because he's the only one that was kind of just like, we have to kill the Jedi. I don't know why, but we're doing it, you know? So it would be nice to explain why he just kind of like snapped like that. But yeah, it's interesting, because I think they have to be hybrids in order for the inhibitor chip not to immediately activate, right? Because there's no way of the Kaminoans knowing if the inhibitor chips would have started working or not. And in the case of Echo, he probably had it removed when he was with the Techno Union. Yeah, it's interesting. I'd like to think that them being hybrids and having other DNA and not just Jango's in there that fucked with the inhibitor chip. So, obviously, since Crosshair was randomly affected, I think Wrecker's next. With those goddamn headaches, I think he's next, because they keep making a point to add it into every single episode they've had so far, so it's like, huh? Is this going to be a thing? Because I swear to God, if it ends up being absolutely nothing, and it just ends up being this random headache that he's had the whole time, I'm gonna be pissed, because then I would have gotten stressed out for nothing. But it's like, then again, I kind of do want Wrecker's chip to work, so Crosshair can have at least one of his buddies back, because that poor guy has just been so sad and lonely this whole entire time. Like, he needs a buddy. And I'll be okay if Wrecker ends up going with the Empire because his inhibitor chip started working. That means he can be buddies with Crosshair and they can look after each other. That'll be okay. To a point, even though it'll be sad for the rest of them. Because now they would have lost 2, and now they'll even be more fucked when it comes to a fighting situation, because now they're down 2 guys, you know, but yeah, so I'm still enjoying this show, even though I know it's just gonna rip my heart out sooner or later, so that'll be fun. But there's still 11 episodes left, but I hope sooner rather than later we get to see what the Empire and the Kaminoans are up to, and what the hell is going on with Crosshair as well, because I'm worried, because the show's basically been ignoring all of that for like 2 episodes now, so that's got me a little spooked to see what's going on there. So yeah, there's a lot, there's just a bunch of interesting things that are happening in this show, and there's a lot of questions that need to be answered, so I'm a little bit afraid for my sweet little clone boys, because please don't hurt them, and by hurt them I mean kill them all off and just leave Omega all alone. Please don't do that. But yeah, so that's all I have to say about episode 5 of The Bad Batch. If you guys have any predictions, thoughts, and or feelings about this show, share all that good shit in the comments down below. Woo! So, thank you guys so much for watching and getting to the end of my video. If you would like to support me, I sell all kinds of art on these 4 sites right here if y'all are interested in buying. if you would like to follow me on other social media, I have an Instagram and a Twitter if you'd like to stay up to date on my shenanigans. So if you like this video, why not hit the thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and give that bell a ring if you would like to see more of my face every Wednesday when I post a new video. And don't forget to stay sparkly, my dude!